Teachers and all audience who are watching. I welcome you all in today's science presentation. My name is Asa from Constant. And first of all, I'd like to introduce my audience. They are Simran Kumari, Sakshi Kumari, and Anisha. Those who are practicing in this program. So, our topic is transportation in human beings. So, before starting, I'd like to tell you the aim of our project, and it is to show how transportation takes place in human beings. As this is related to our chapter, and we have only read these things in our text, so we are very much eager to know how it works. So when we got a chance in school for a science presentation, we thought of this project, as it helps to visualize the things, and this was our point of interest. So before starting, I'd like to give you a brief introduction about transportation. So what is transportation? In everyday language, we used to hear this word, transportation, which is used to carry the things from one place to another. But in biology, transportation is a whole life process in which a substance is carried from one part to the other in the body. And these all are carried by the blood. So what is blood? Blood is a connective tissue. It contains a pigment called hemoglobin in its red cells. There are four main components of blood. That is, first is plasma, it is a liquid form of blood. Second is RBC, that is red blood cell, that is used to transport the oxygen from the lungs to all cells of the body. Third is WBC, that stands for white blood cell, which is used to fight with all disease infections. And last is platelet, which helps to help in the clotting of blood and heal the wounds. Now, Alisha will explain the function of blood. Now, I will tell you the function of the blood. The human body has three main functions: transportation, hormones, etc. The main function of the blood are: blood carries oxygen from lungs to different parts of the body. Second, blood carries carbon dioxide from body cells to lungs for breathing out. Blood carries digested food from the small intestine to all the parts of the body. Fourth, blood carries hormones to different parts of the body. Fifth, blood carries a waste product called urea, which is from kidneys to the liver, which is excreted in urine. Blood protects against some disease. That is why white blood cells fights and kills bacteria. Now I will tell you something about arteries, veins and capillaries. Arteries, veins and capillaries are a kind of tubes. Arteries, veins and capillaries are a kind of tubes to which blood flows in the body. Artery is the carry blood.
You come and explain here. Okay. Using hands movement. Please come this side.
Ruler or stick will be required for that. No.
And explain it.
To point something.
It is artery. Artery is a thick blood vessels which helps in the transportation of.
So these things they should know themselves. They should be.
Yes. Louder. Okay.
Artery is a thick blood vessels which has to carry the blood, and the main artery is called pulmonary artery, which carries oxygenated blood from the left ventricle.
Okay, can be done.
Artery, veins, capillaries. The capillaries are found in between the arteries and veins. Now I tell you about
like
veins.
introduction you can give,
Veins
content you can give, presentation you can give, conclusion you can give. So 4-5
Veins
category
carries the blood from all parts of the body that we have. Now Sasi will explain this.
Now I will explain the whole steps of the respiration, transportation in human beings. Step 1. When all the four chambers of the heart are relaxed, the The pulmonary veins brings oxygenated blood from the lungs into the left atrium of the heart. Step 2. When left atrium contracts, the left ventricle are pushed into the left ventricle through valve. Step 3. When left ventricle contracts, the oxygenated blood is forced into the main part called aorta, and this aorta and these main parts further goes to the body organs. The small arteries then further branches into capillaries. Step 4. The deoxygenated blood comes from the body organs to upper chambers of the right atrium. Step 5. When the right atrium contracts, the deoxygenated blood is pushed through the right ventricle through valve. Step 6. And when the right ventricle contracts, the deoxygenated blood is pumped into the lungs through pulmonary veins, and in the lungs, the carbon dioxide releases and it absorbs fresh oxygen from the air, and it will become oxygenated again, and again it will send to the left atrium of the heart and by pulmonary vein, and the circulation of the blood takes place. Heart and the blood vessels forms an intricate network throughout the body, and the heart is the central to the network, and it maintains the blood flow throughout the body. Arteries, veins and capillaries work in conjunction to maintain the tissue's health and by giving them nutrients and oxygen. And it also removes carbon dioxide and waste through continuous flow of the blood. Yes, this is all about our process.
Okay, it's over.
How it will work?
Regarding timing also it is there. No, it will take time.
Because it was not taken.
Like this.
Yes, sir. Very significant.
No.
Very good. Good.
This is how our whole body transports the blood, and due to this only the heart, through the heart, the blood circulates.
Principal, have a seat.
Okay, nice.
No,
Nice.
yes.
Very nice. Thank you. Louder, louder.
Special directors, sir, principals, sir, teachers and their friends. Good morning to all. We are the student of class 10 and now we are going to demonstrate a model. And the name of the model is internal respiration. External respiration is also known as breathing, which includes both inhalation and exhalation. During inhalation, the exchange of carbon dioxide and oxygen takes place in the cells and the blood vessels. And now the further explanation will be given by human respiratory system. The main organs of the human respiratory system are nose, nasal cavity, trachea, lung, lung. Respiratory system begins from the nose, which have two holes that are called nostrils.
उनको थोड़ा जोर से बोलना
Then it goes to the nasal passage.
louder.
It is separated from the buccal cavity by the hard bony plate. Nasal passage is a line with a fine air and mucus, which trap the dust particles and other impurities so that only fresh air can go to the lungs.
That's why you know before
From
only
the
little
nasal
bit
passage,
listening
it
is
enters the pharynx and goes to the trachea. The air passes
How to
the trachea. The trachea does not collapse even when there is no air because it is supported from the soft bones called rings of cartilage. The upper end of the trachea had a voice box called larynx. Now, the trachea is divided into two smaller tubes that are called bronchi.
Bronchi divide in lungs in many tubes, smaller tubes called bronchioles, and each bronchioles has balloon-like structure at their end called alveoli. Alveoli has thin surface and blood capillaries surrounds the alveoli. From the alveoli, oxygenated blood is taken all the parts and the impure air is retract through our nose. Alveoli has very thin surface. Lungs have millions of alveoli which provide large surface for the exchange of gases. Further explanation will be given by Sam.
Now I am going to explain how our respiratory system works. When we breathe in air, the diaphragm and the muscles attached to the rib expands. Due to this, the volume inside the chest cavity increases and the air pressure decreases. As the air pressure decreases inside the chest cavity, the air present at the atmosphere, which is at high pressure, rushes into lungs through nostrils, trachea and bronchi. Then in this way, during the process of breathing in air, the alveoli or sacs which are present in the lungs get filled with air containing oxygen, and the alveoli which are surrounded by the blood capillaries helps in the diffusion of blood into the cells. Now the further explanation will be given by Rahul.
Oxygen is carried out from the blood to all the parts of the body. CO2 is produced as the waste material. Then it passes through lungs and it comes out through nostrils. The further explanation will be done by Naveen.
We learned from this project that how the inhalation and exhalation takes place in human body. Thank you.
If you have any queries, so you can ask.
Okay, children from class 5 to 8, anyone is having any query? Anyone wants to ask any question? Class 5 to 8, those who are watching?
No, sir.
Okay.
At last, I would like to thank Bhagwan Management System who has given us a golden opportunity to perform this performance. Thank you and have a nice day.
I can start. Respected our directors, sir, principal, sir, vice principal, sir, teachers, and all my dear friends. A very warm good morning to all. I am Karan Kumar Thakur from class 10 with my friend Deepak, Rikesh, Ashish, and Rehan. Here to demonstrate you a model, and the topic is nutrition in human beings. Nutrition takes place in digestive system. It contains various organs like mouth, salivary gland, tongue, esophagus, diaphragm, gallbladder, stomach, liver, pancreas, small intestine, large intestine, rectum, appendix, and anus. Further explanation will be said by Ashish.
Ingestion. Ingestion is the process in which the food is taken inside our mouth with the help of our hand. It's called ingestion. Further explanation will be told by Rehan.
Digestion, the buccal cavity. With the help of teeth, the food is being swallowed and it is mixed through saliva. With the salivary gland produces saliva and which helps the food to be swallowed. After this, the food is swallowed and it passes through food pipe called esophagus. The contraction and the expansion of the food pipe is called peristaltic movement. Further explanation will be given by Rikesh.
The digested food comes to the stomach. It is like J-shaped organ present in the left side of the organ of any human being. After that, the small the gland of stomach secretes gastric juice, which contains three substances: hydrochloric acid, pepsin, and mucus. The hydrochloric acid makes the gastric juice acidic in nature. It makes the medium of gastric juice acidic so that pepsin can digest properly. The mucus helps to protect the wall of stomach from the hydrochloric acid. After that, it enters the small intestine. The small intestine receives the secretion of liver and pancreas. Liver secretes bile. Bile is stored in gallbladder, which is present in liver. It makes the food alkaline and it breaks down the fat present in the food. Pancreas. Pancreas secretes pancreatic juice, which contains digestive enzymes like pancreas amylase. It breaks down the starch. Trypsin. It breaks down the protein. And lipase. It breaks down the fat. After that, the walls of small intestine contain glands, which contain intestinal juice. It contains a number of enzymes that complete the digestion of carbohydrates into glucose, protein into amino acid, and fat into fatty acid.
You can disconnect also if you don't want.
After digestion, the molecules of food become so small that they can pass through the walls of small intestine
In English,
and
you'll have to-
go into our blood.
Pronunciation.
This is called absorption. The small intestine has millions of tiny figures like
For that also,
projection called villi.
continuous activity.
The presence of villi gives the inner wall of the small intestine and very large surface. And large surface area of small intestines helps in the rapid absorption of digested food. Now,
Assimilation. The blood carry all the digested and dissolved food in the body, which makes the food alkaline, in which the body cells obtain energy and as well as growth and repair of the body.
the undigested food are not absorbed by the small intestine. It passes through the small intestine to the large intestine. The walls of the large intestine of most of the water are absorbed by the undigested food. Due to this, the undigested part of the food become almost solid. The last part of the large intestine is called rectum. The rectum stored undigested food for some time. After this, at last, the undigested food pass out from the anus.
Nutrition provides not only best physical health, but also it reduces the chances of disease.
After esophagus, it comes in the stomach. And from the stomach, we have outside liver. From the liver, it secretes bile. And from bile, it comes in the pancreas. From here, the digested food come in the pipe of stomach. From here, pancreas secrete pancreatic juice which mix and come over here. From here, it comes from the large small intestine. After that,
And at last it confirmed the nutrition. And at last I would like to thank our doctor sir who has given us a golden opportunity. Thank you sir. Thank you.
Good morning, teachers and my dear friends. I'm Divya Kumari and they are my group partners Shreya Gungun Malakar and Chani Begum. We are the students of class 10. We prepared an experiment on the topic metals are a good conductors of heat. We chose this experiment because when I get to know that metals like aluminium and copper are used in utensils, so my curiosity increases to choose this topic. So let me tell you the basic concept related to this experiment, like what is metal, which type of metals are good conductors of heat, why they are good conductors of heat, etc. etc. Starting from the metals, that what is metal? Metal have a shiny appearance. They are good conductors of heat and electricity. They can be beaten into thin sheets. They can also be drawn into thin wires. Metals like silver and gold are good conductors of heat. So the procedure of this experiment will be explained by my friend Shreya Gungun Malakar. So first of all, we'll burn this candle. Whatever thing we have used in this project is a stand, a metal scale, candle and nails.
How do you present your thing? You know, that matters a lot. Even your project is good and you are not able
So
to
as you
present
see
it.
that we have burned this candle, and after a few minutes the conduction will take place. And when the metal will get heated, we have pressed the nails, it will fall down. So it will take little bit time to conduct.
Okay, from class 8, anyone can tell me what they are trying to do?
So as you see that the
Okay,
wax
okay.
melt and nail fall. So with this experiment only, we want to say that metals are good conductor of heat. So conclusion will set by channel.
When it fall, it was not.
Oh.
At last, I would like to conclude that metals are good conductor of heat and it need high melting point to melt. Maybe a question might be wondering that which metal need high melting point to melt or which metal need least melting point to melt. So metals like sodium, tin, lead, etc. need least melting point to melt, or metal like gold,
communication
silver,
is better.
tungsten need high melting point to melt. That is why metals like gold and silver are used in making jewelries because they need high melting point to melt. This was our experiment. We wanted to prove that metals are a good conductors of heat. At last, we want to thank our school management for organizing this competition so that we can express our ideas and thoughts. Thank you.
Respected Director Sir, Principal Sir, Vice Principal Sir, teachers and all those present over here, a very pleasant good morning to everyone. This is Komal Kumari from Class 10, the leader of this group.
This is Pushkar Kumar from class 10, and today we both have prepared one science project, and our science project name is Smart Blind Stick. First of all, I would like to tell you what this Smart Blind Stick means. This Smart Blind Stick is very useful for blind person. If a blind person holding this smart stick and traveling one place to another, then some object come in the front of this stick, then the buzzer started buzzing. Start buzzing. We will show, sir. I can say. When some objects come in the front of this stick, the buzzer start buzzing and warn the blind that some object is there. After this, the blind can change his direction or his or her direction. The goal to make this smart blind stick is to make the blind people self-dependent and to make equally stand in the front of common peoples and work with them. Now the further explanation will be given by Komal.
Actually, we got the inspiration to make this project from the blind school, which is just near our school in Chano. On 1st January 2021, I and Pushkar, we both visited there and we met with the blind children. And then we realized that we should make a science project for them. And we have made a project, and the name of our project is Smart Blind Stick. So in this Smart Blind Stick, we have used a plastic pipe. These are the two batteries. This is Arduino UNO. These are the two buzzers. And this is the ultrasonic sensor HCSR04. And here we have also put the LED bulbs using wires.
We put two batteries over here and then we connected this battery to Arduino. Then from Arduino we have connected two buzzers, and then from buzzer we have connected sensor as well as Arduino, and we also put 3 LEDs bulb. Now the further explanation will be given by Komal.
Now you would be thinking that why we have connected these LED bulbs, because blind person cannot see. So the reason behind is that when the blind person will walk with this stick at night and switch this LED bulb on, then the other people can see them. And it can be very useful for the blind person to cross the roads at night. Now talking about this Arduino UNO. So in this Arduino UNO, we have programmed it using an application called Arduino Droid using C++ language using a smartphone. Here, this is the ultrasonic sensor. So this ultrasonic sensor detects if any object comes into its path. Here, as we can see, this is the diagram of ultrasonic sensor. So it consists of a transmitter and this is the receiver. Suppose if any object comes in front of this sensor, then this transmitter sends a wave to this object, and then that wave from the object gets reflected back to this receiver. The receiver then sends the message to these buzzers, and then the buzzers start buzzing. And in this way, the blind person will get to know that there is some obstacle in their path, and hence they will change their direction and will not collide with the object. Now, I'd like to tell you how to use it. So here, as we can see, this is the wire. This wire is for the LED bulbs. When we connect this wire to the battery, then the LED bulbs will glow. And here we can see one more wire. When we'll connect this to this battery, then this Arduino UNO will get activated, which will further activate this ultrasonic sensor HCSR04. So now I would like to request Pushkar to show you how it works. So as you can see, as we have connected this wire, then these LED bulbs have glown up. And you can see that when Pushkar is walking, then as he comes near the wall, then the sensor detects the wall and it starts buzzing. So as you can see how it works. So in this way, the blind people can detect that there is some object into their path, and hence they can change their direction. So currently, there are around 36 million blind population all over the world. And if we talk about India, then there are around 12 million blind population. So we have made this project for those people, because such people also have equal opportunities, and so no obstacle should stop them. So through our project, we want to make the blind people self-dependent. So this is our project. At last, I'd like to thank Honorable Director Sir, Principal Sir, Vice Principal Sir, and teachers for giving me such a golden opportunity and for giving their precious time to see our project. I'd also like to thank Ritesh Sir for giving me an idea about programming. And I'd like to thank our science teacher Bharat Sir for encouraging us to make this project. Thank you.
Respected Director Sir, Principal Sir, teachers and my dear friends, a very warm good morning to all of you. This is our model human excretory system. My name is Ankita Tirki and this is my friend Diksha Sahu have worked on this. Now first of all, I am going to tell what is excretion. The process of removal of toxic substance from human body is called excretion. The human excretory system mainly consists of a pair of kidney, a pair of ureters, a urinary bladder and a urethra. Human excretory system collects the liquid waste and helps it to get rid of them. Every person has two kidneys. The kidneys are being saved just above the waist towards the back of our body. The blood in our body is constantly passing through our kidney. The renal artery brings impure blood into our kidney. The main function of kidney is to remove toxic substance, urea, other waste salts and water and excrete them in the form of Respected our Honorable Director Sir, Principal Sir, Vice Principal Sir, teachers and all my dear friends present here. A very pleasant good morning to all. Myself Kritika Kumari. Myself Divya Kumari. So today we both are present here to demonstrate to our presentation and our topic name is plant cell. So as we know that plant plays a very important role in our environment. So to make aware about the structure of plant, we have thought of this project. So plant cells are eukaryotic cells with tree nucleus along with specialized structure called organelles that carry out specific functions. We know that the plant cells are mainly rectangular and completely larger than the animal cells. Plant cell and animal cells both are eukaryotic cells and they share the few cell organelles. Plant cell is quiet and distinct as the compare of animal cells. They perform different activities. Just like a different organelles within the body of plant cells produce many factors and it calls cell organelles and they work many times. It include the nucleus, mitochondria, Golgi apparatus, etc. Now we are going to demonstrate about this all the things. Cell wall. Cell wall is a rigid layer. Cell wall is a rigid layer which is mainly composed of cellulose, that is complex carbohydrate. It is located in the outer part of the cell membrane, and the primary function of cell wall is to protect and provide structural support to the cell. The cell wall structure also involves in protecting the cell against mechanical stress and filters the molecules passing in and out of the cell. Cell membrane is a semi-permeable membrane which contains the cell wall and it composed to thin layer of protein and fat. Nucleus is a membrane-bound structure that is present in only eukaryotic cells. The vital function of nucleus is to store DNA and provide the primary function of nucleus is to store DNA and hereditary information that is required for cell division, metabolism and growth. We know that the lysosomes is also called ascocyte bags and it holds the digestive enzymes, and the digestive enzymes carry lysosomes is also, we know that the lysosomes is a suicide bags and it holds the digestive enzyme. Mitochondria. Mitochondria is a double-layered membrane that is present in cytoplasm of all eukaryotic cells. The mitochondria is known as the is also known as the powerhouse of the cell because it carry out the process of aerobic respiration and generate ATP required for cell division. Ribosomes. Ribosomes are the smallest membranes, and ribosomes are the smallest membranes bounded organelles, and it composed of the protein and RNA. Golgi apparatus. Golgi apparatus are found in eukaryotic cell that involves in distributing the synthesis molecules from to various parts of the cell. Central vacuoles. Central vacuoles occupy around the 30% of cell volume, and for example, tonoplast, etc. Plastid. Plastid are membrane-bound cells that have their own DNA, and they are necessary to carry that store starch and carry out the process of photosynthesis. So by performing this presentation, we got a conclusion that plants play a very important role in our environment, and we should by this we want to tell that plant have with our naked eye we can't see various structure of cell, but it has many important role. So we should avoid deforestation and conserve afforestation. Thank you.
So your project is nice. First of all, you tell me who discovered cell.
Robert Hooke discovered cell in 1665.
Tell me one cell organelle which is not present in animal cell but it is present in plant cell.
Nucleus. Nucleus is present only in plant cell, but cytoplasm, cell wall. Cell wall is present in plant cell, but it is not present in animal cell.
So nucleus is present in both the cells, but what you said? Louder. Cell wall. Yes. One more, can you tell me? One more cell organelle which is not present in the animal cell, but it is present in the plant cell. Because you have made plant cell, na? Tell me. Plastid is there. So plastid is present only in plant cell. Understood? It is not present in the animal cell. Okay, nice.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Respected director, sir, principal, sir, vice principal, sir, teachers, and all my dear friends, a very good morning to everyone. Myself, Afrin Haq. Myself, Shruti Gupta. Myself, Srinav Rao. Myself, Poonam Rao. We, the girls of class 9, are going to show an activity by the method of chromatography, and the name of the topic is separation of dyes in black ink using chromatography. The aim of this activity is to separate the different components of dyes by paper chromatography. Material needed are a glass, a tissue paper, a black sketch pen, scissor, sellotape, and a pencil. We got interested in this activity by our respected Bharat sir. When he was explaining in the class, we were quite interested to know that how it changes its color in different colors. So we would like to thank our Bharat sir for his great explanation. Now I am going to say what is chromatography. It is an important biophysical technique that helps in separation, purification, and identification of a compound from the given mixture or water. Now I am going to explain the activity. First of all, we will take a tissue paper and with the help of scissor we have to cut a piece of tissue paper like this. After that we have to take a sketch pen and at the width of the tissue paper approx 3 centimeter we have to make a line like this. After that we have to take a glass and we have to pour the water in it, and with the help of pencils and sellotape we have to stick in such a way that this line is just above the water level. And
from this experiment, let's see the observation of this. From this experiments, let's see the observation of the color. This happened due to the capillary movement. The water gets movement because of the capillary movement. The dye which is more soluble in water will dissolve first and rises faster and produce a color like this. And the dye which is not soluble in water will dissolve little and it will produce a little color. The ink.
So at last, now I'm going to tell the conclusion of this activity. From this activity, we learned that how we can separate two or more substances in the same solution. Chromatography is a laboratory technique to separate components of dyes from ink.
So what is chromatography? Explain first of all.
It is a biophysical technique which helps in separation, purification and identification of a compound from the given mixture or a bottle.
Can you tell me one field where the chromatography is used in our day-to-day life?
In filtering our bloods, while when someone will take drugs, so by this method we can recognize that he has taken bloods. With the help of these samples we can recognize.
Good, very nice.
Yes, sir, and Bharat sir and all the teachers for giving this wonderful opportunity to participate in a science presentation. So thank you to all. Thank you, sir.
Respected our director sir, principal sir, vice principal sir, teachers and all my dear friends. Very pleasant good morning to all. Myself Komal Verma, she is Namita Bhagat, she is Indrani Kumari and she is Gayatri Kumari. And we are from class 9. Now we are going to demonstrate a human eye. As we all know, human eyes plays very important role in a human body or any living being. And now today, what we are enjoying in this world, what we are seeing this colorful world, and we are learning most of the things by seeing only. And this is possible because of our eyes only. So I am suggesting you that I should suggest you all that we should protect our eyes from what it can damage our eyes. So now we are going to demonstrate some common parts and important parts. So it will be started by Namita.
In this figure we can see this pink color is cornea. Now I am going to demonstrate about cornea. A cornea is a clear curved membrane that covers the front part of the eye. And it protects the iris, pupil, and inside the eye from dust particles. And cornea help to enter light on the retina
Now I am going to say about the pupil. And the pupil is a black hole in the eye. Light enters through the pupil is a black hole in the eye. Light enters through pupil, and as you can see there, that the amount of light enters the eyes is controlled by the muscles in the iris. And now about lens, Gayatri will say. Now I am going to explain about lens. As we can see over here that it is a lens and it is a convex lens. It is a transparent jelly. At the middle, the lens are hard and the outer portion part of the lens are soft. Now for explaining retina, I would like to call Komal.
Now it's my turn to explain about iris. The colored pigment. This blue part, the colored pigment is known as iris. And which light enters in pupil, iris only controls the size of the pupil. And when the light is very deep, then pupil enlarges itself to enter more and more lights inside the eye. And when the light is bright, pupil make its size very smaller to enter very less amount of light. And this is possible because of iris. Now next, Namita.
Now I am going to describe aqueous humor. What is aqueous humor? Aqueous humor is a thin, watery fluid present on the front part of the eye. In this figure, this yellow part is aqueous humor. It is produced by the cellular body, and it provides nourishment to the first part of the eye, and it gives the shape of the eye. Now I am going to say you about the retina. The retina is the innermost membrane of the eye, and there are large number of cells in that is called rods and cones. And the rods are sensitive in bright light and the cones are sensitive in dim light. Now let's practice. Now I am going to explain you about optic nerve. This is the nerves which connect the retina to brain. Now I am going to say about vitreous humor. As you can see here, this blue part is known as vitreous humor, and it's a jelly-like structure which helps the eyes to be in its round shape. Now next, Scalera will say. Now I am going to tell about chloride. Chloride is a chloride layer lies between the retina and sclera. It is composed of dense pigment and blood vessel that nourish the back of the eye. Now I'm for sclera, Indrani will see.
Now I am going to tell you about sclera. The sclera is the outermost membranes of the eye. It encloses the entire eye except from the part covered by the cornea. Sclera. The muscles that move the eye are attached to the sclera. Humans' sclera eyes are white and animals' sclera are black, and due to this we are able to see. Now I am going to explain you about cellular body. As we can see over here that it is a cellular body which is found in chloride, which is over here, and the shape of the lens change because are attached with cellular body. Now, we can conclude that all parts of our eyes are very important.
for seeing. And I should advise that we should protect our eyes from we can damage our eyes, like especially students overwatch mobiles and use televisions and all those things. So we should avoid them. And I got interested in this topic because I like biology very much, and I like to find various different things and know about the body. So that's why I am interested. Thank you.
Okay, you can start.
Honorable our Director Sir, respected Principal Sir, Vice Principal Sir, teachers and all my dear friends. A very pleasant good morning to all of you. Now I am gathered here to represent the topic, and the topic name is Tyndall effect. Myself Pallavi Kumari from class 9, and those who have supported me in this activity are Anima and Vicky. So first I will tell about what is Tyndall effect. The scattering of beam of light is known as Tyndall effect. The full name of scientist is John Tyndall, who discovered this effect. And to selected this project because we want to learn from this activity that how the copper sulfate solution does not show Tyndall effect, but the mixture of milk and water shows Tyndall effect. Moving further, Vicky will describe about the aim. The aim of this activity is to show that the solution of copper sulfate does not show Tyndall effect, but the mixture of water and milk show Tyndall effect.
Or you will start. Oh, okay. So let
Now
them
moving
finish.
forward,
You will start with
Anima will describe the procedure of this activity.
Hard copy I had given to you, sir.
At first we take 2 glass.
With mobile.
We will fill some water at first glass and add a powder of a spatula full of copper sulfate solution. After that we will fill water and milk of second glass and mix it properly. So it will looks like the mixture of water and milk is dissolved. We will take a torch, and through torch we will flash the light of both the glass. Now we will show the activity.
Yes.
I have.
Sir, just a second.
At first we will take the water and we can pull the spatula of copper sulfate. Then we can toss the light. Then see that here the light is not passing through the copper sulfate. And the second is the mixture of water and milk. So see that it is the colloidal solution and it shows the Tyndall effect. So now I will describe the observation. Milk is a colloidal solution which appears to be homogeneous, but actually it is a heterogeneous. Their particles are very small. That's why we can see the naked eyes of the particles. That's why we can see the particles of that room. This is due to the scatters of beam of light through a small hole. Hence milk shows the Tyndall effect. And my second is copper sulfate solution do not show the Tyndall effect, but it scattered the beam of light. Hence copper sulfate solution does not show Tyndall effect. Now at last Vicky will describe the
Conclusion of this activity. The conclusion of this activity is the particles of milk are big enough for scattering the beam of the light, but the solution of copper sulfate does not. The solution of copper sulfate are small in size.
Sir, at last, I will thank our director, sir, principal, sir, vice principal, sir, teachers, and all my dear friends, teachers, to give me a golden opportunity in this activity. So, thank you, sir.